Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today our topic is a lesson from your text, that is Letter A by Christy Brown. This lesson actually is autobiography. Of Christy Brown. Means autobiography means a person who writes his life history of his own. मतलब है कि ऑटोबायोग्राफी हम उसको कहते हैं जब हम अपनी लाइफ हिस्ट्री, अपनी जिंदगी की तारीख को खुद लिखते हैं, तो उसको कहते हैं ऑटोबायोग्राफी. और दूसरा हो गया बायोग्राफी. Biography means when somebody another writes history of another person, life history of another person. यानी कोई दूसरा जब किसी की जिंदगी की तारीख लिखता है, हिस्ट्री लिखता है, तो उसको हम कहते हैं बायोग्राफी. लेकिन ये जो है लेटर ए, इट इज एक्चुअली written by Christy Brown, but Christy Brown, he writes his own life history. So this letter A is a sketch of a film. यहां पर आप देखते हैं sketch of a still from the film My Left Foot. तो फिल्म का नाम था My Left Foot. Which is based on Christy Brown's autobiography. So, Christy Brown actually, when he got birth, he had a cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy. Actually, cerebral palsy means mentally disturbed, mentally disorder, or we can say a range of neuromuscular disorders caused by injury in infancy, brain sustained during late pregnancy or birth or any time during the first 2 years of life. यानी एक्चुअली सेरिब्रल पॉलिसी उसको कहते हैं जब किसी के दिमाग में कोई इंजरी आती है, या तो उसकी बर्थ के वक्त आता है, या लेट प्रेगनेंसी की वजह से आता है, या पहले 2 साल में आती है. So, people who are suffering from this cerebral palsy have a wide range of difficulties. तो लोग जो इसके शिकार होते हैं, those who are the victim of this cerebral palsy, they have a range of caused by what is, first of all, from a clumsy walk. They cannot walk. clumsy कहते हैं heavy. Walk to an inability to speak or swallow. They cannot speak. They cannot swallow. Caused by faulty messages sent from the brain to the muscles. So this is actually what we are going to read this. Now, Christy Brown in first para he says, I was born in Rotunda Hospital on June 5th, 1932. 5th June 1932. Who was born? Christy Brown. And he says that there were 9 children before me. So I myself belonging to the middle group. Out of this total of 22, 17 lived. So he says that when I got birth, I was the 9th in the middle of this row. But 17 died. 22, 17 lived. But 4 died in infancy, leaving 13 settled to hold the family fort. And only 13 children, infants, who lived to hold the family fort. But Christy Brown says mine was a very difficult birth. It was difficult birth. And there were, he says, I am told. He can't see it, but he says, I am told. Here it is a passive voice that somebody has told him. He was, both mother and son almost died. They are almost died. And whole army, means whole army of relations queued up. Queued up actually means queue, means line. They were in a row. And outside the hospital until the small hours of morning, waiting for the news and praying furiously that it would be good. So everybody was praying, relatives were praying that the birth should come with a good news. So he got birth, and then mother was sent to recuperate. Recuperate actually means for build of health. And he says, I was kept in the hospital without mother while she was heavy, and I remained there for some time without name. So, not without name, for I was not baptized. Baptize actually means it is a Christian ceremony in which a person has water poured on their head or is covered briefly in water in order to show that they have become a member of the Christian church. तो एक्चुअली क्या है, बिप्टाइज कैसे होता है कि क्रिश्चियनिटी में, यानी ये इस रिलीजन में है कि बच्चे को लेते हैं या उसके ऊपर पानी डालते हैं वहां पर, या उसको कुछ टाइम पानी में रखते हैं और इस तरह से बच्चे को तस्वुर करते हैं कि ये क्रिश्चियनिटी का एक मेंबर बन गए. सो द ऑथर सेज, Christy Brown says that mother was sent to recuperate and I was in a hospital without name and I was not even baptized and until my mother was well enough to bring me to church. And in the third para of the lesson, Christy Brown says, and it was my mother who first saw that there was something wrong with me. And he says, I was about 4 months old at that time, and she noticed first. What she noticed? That my head had a habit of falling backwards. यानी माँ जब उसको दूध देती थी तो उसका जो हेड था वो पीछे की तरफ चला जाता था. And she tried to feed me. She tried to correct this by placing her hand on the back of my neck to keep it steady. But when she took it away, और जब वो फिर ले जाती थी तो मेरा सर फिर पीछे की तरफ. And that was the first thing which mother noticed, that her child was not normal. He was abnormal. And what was the first thing? That he had the habit of falling backwards his this head, and then that was the first warning sign. Then she became aware of so many things. What was that? When I got some older, she saw that my hands were clenched. Clenched means shut tightly nearly all the time. Clenched कहते हैं इस तरह, यानी वो बिल्कुल टाइट होते थे, and were inclined to twine behind my back. And were inclined, और अचानक वो क्या कहते थे कि वो पीछे की तरफ जाती थी. And this was the second sign. My mouth could not grasp. Grasp means gauge. The teeth of the bottle. Because even at that early age, my jaws would either lock together tightly so that it was impossible for her to open them. And it was the third thing, that his jaws इनको कहते जबड़े जो थे वो इतने टाइट होते थे, even he could not grasp the teeth. And he says that they are so much locked together tightly so that it was impossible that for her open her, or they would suddenly become limp. Limp कहते हैं कि अचानक वो इस तरह हो जाते थे. So this was the second thing. And fall loose, dragging my whole mouth to one side. तो इस तरह उसका एक जो ये था, ये एक ही साइड चला जाता था. At 6 months, I could not sit up without having a mountains of pillows. तो आगे यानी वो बैठ भी नहीं सकता था 6 महीने में, तो इर्द गिर्द उसके वो तकिए रखे जाते थे. At 12 months, it was the same. तो जब 1 साल का हुआ तो यही कुछ था. Very worried about this, the father and mother. So what happened? Mother told my father her fears, and they decided to seek medical advice. Without any further delay, I was a little over a year old when they began to take me to hospitals and clinics, convinced and were sure that there was something definitely wrong with me. And they were now sure that the child was not normal. He was abnormal in every aspect, something which they could not understand or name, but which was very real and disturbing. Almost every doctor who saw and examined me labeled me a very interesting. They treat me, it is an interesting story. It is an interesting patient, but also a hopeless case. So many told mother very gently that I was mentally defective and would remain so. So doctors advised that it is a hopeless case. So he is mentally disturbed, he is mentally defective. That was a hard blow to young mother. And this was the very hard shock for mother, who had already reared. She was, at that time, she brought up 5 healthy children. The doctors were so very sure of themselves that mother's faith in me seemed almost an impertinence. But doctors advised mother. They told her that it is a hopeless case. The child was mentally defective. The child was mentally abnormal. But mother disliked, mother disobeyed the advice of the doctors. She advised of the doctors, and she showed impertinence. Impertinence means disrespect for the qualified opinion. She rejected that. Impertinence means reject the opinion of the well-qualified doctors. And they assured her that nothing could be done for me. And they assured her, but mother showed impertinence. She rejected the opinion of the doctors, the advice of the doctors. She refused to accept this truth, the inevitable truth. It was inevitable truth, that means it will be never changed. As it then seemed that I was beyond cure. And it seemed, ये जाहिर था, beyond cure, beyond saving, even beyond hope. यानी न कोई उम्मीद थी, न कोई इलाज था, न कोई बचने की सूरत थी. She would not and would not believe that I was an imbecile. But mother never believed that I am abnormal, I am mentally defective, as the doctor told her. She had nothing in the world to go by, not a scrap of it. But on one side, mother rejected the opinion, and she was sure that her son was not imbecile. But on the other hand, she says that she not a scrap of evidence, and she had not any a piece of proof that her child is normal to support her conviction that though my body was crippled, my mind was not. In spite of all the doctors and specialists told her, she would not agree. I don't believe she know why. So she just knew without feeling the smallest shade of doubt. Thanks.